Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Techado again. And today is going to be the curtain fall edition for Pegaxy. Probably the last episode that you're going to see in thorough, in details in Pegaxy. I'm going to call it curtain falls edition because the truth has been finally spoken by the current CEO, which is Corey. And for the last few months or so, it has been dead for that time. The game is still under development. The game will be there, but for the token and for you to profit, it's probably not going to be ever. So let this come out, so that it's not in your mind that there is some false expectations that I want to do by making you watch all these Pegaxy videos or anything. But it is better for the CEO himself to speak. We are going to go through questions that he answered during the AMA. Listen to that, listen to his explanation, and listen to what probably have happened. So, but before we jump in, try to understand what is a Web 2 and what is a Web 3 game, because that is kind of important. So, yep. That's kind of important. I'm just checking out whether my Discord is connected or not. Alrighty. So here we are. This is some questions that Corey actually had answered. And to be honest, these sort of answers should have been done long time back, and they were not transparent. But this is a pretty transparent explanation. So good job, Corey. But again, he's not a game developer or anything. He's just a common guy like you and me. And he was making YouTube videos back when the Formula 1 project was there. That project unfortunately died. So this is his probably second project that he has got attached himself with. Is another probably a failure also, just because, again, I'm not saying the future, but at least he spoke the truth. So you have to give perks to him for answering some very big questions that were actually posted by guilds, not by common investors like us. So let's go and check question number one. Question number one that I selected for you guys is, why did Ken get voted out as CEO? So let's listen to his explanation.
And agreed that we wanted to go in a separate direction, and that's not what the direction that Ken wanted to go, and so we decided to part ways. It was as simple as that. There wasn't really anything crazy or something that looks like a Hollywood movie or anything like that. This is generally pretty normal in most companies. If there is a misalignment with a specific direction, you just go and discuss with each other and come to an agreement.
So to understand one thing, that Ken and there was another guy, his name used to start with R. I forgot his name, but I think I can remember his name during the video. So these two were core kind of part of this Pegaxy. So they were the core team of Pegaxy. And back in the days, before even Corey used to drop in some videos, Ken and the other dudes, they were always dropping in videos and everything. And that was step number one, should have been your signs. And it was actually during the time when they did the shuffling thing, they changed price pools and everything, just because I am one of their very old kind of content creators that has been supporting this project. It's my opinion. And me watching through all of their videos back to back, knowing in depth about the game. So they leaving is actually a huge deal. They leaving means that the new CEO again and the board of directors is probably 3-4 people together. It's not even a huge company. It's just a small studio. All these people, they need to come up with some sort of stuff, some new guys that can do development or anything, which again, I don't think it's going to happen for a long time. I'm pretty sure that Corey's in Taiwan. He's probably now trying to get somebody from Taiwan to make this whole game. But again, it is impossible. We're going to come back to that. Why is it impossible? Second question, again, I don't know why somebody would ask this question, but these are all the guild questions.
And the next part is, what changes will I make to the company now that I am CEO? So they've kind of already started, I would say about probably about a month ago, maybe a little bit less, we did start to implement some of those changes. They were around things like internal procedures and processes, job roles, job descriptions, all of that type of stuff. These are things that are fundamentally important to any company, and we need to do that from the ground up to make sure that everybody is aligned on the same vision. Speaking of vision, that as well is something that was brought up here, but we do need to also be aligned, going in the same direction and understanding the direction that we want to go as a studio. So that's what we have been figuring out these last 30 days. There's a million.
Okay, so again, I'm going to change scenes for a moment. So you heard that it would be at the direction of the Ken, but as a studio. So all this time, basically, what they were doing is to make Marui Lab Studios. Marui Lab Studio would be an organization or a company that makes games like Pegaxy and stuff like that. Now, this thing actually, it's very significant to understand this. You'll get a hint of it when you go to different conventions or NFT exhibitions or anything where you will see multiple projects. You see marketing pitch above like different sort of, like different sort of companies like that. So one of the companies are like CryptoBlades, right? So we saw Skill, which was their token back in the days. I mean, it's still there. But CryptoBlades was a very, very good project. It's still a really good game. But how to make this Web3? Web3 means play to earn. Web2 means just a game. So how to make it Web3? So they added the skill token where players could earn or mint some sort of tokens and anything. And we do not see skill to be in a healthy position. We have a very, very exclusive video coming up for CryptoBlades. We saw them in NFT Expoverse, but unfortunately, nobody wanted to have a conversation about tokenomics. And as a matter of fact, going through a lot of these, NFT projects or anything, nobody wants to talk about tokenomics. The reason why is that there is no sustainable economy in play to earn games in Web3 realm as of right now. For the coming like the year or so, none of the projects can sustain themselves. Pegaxy probably will be ending up like what Axie is right now, because Axie is still holding just because they have a huge pool of players. Talking about active user acquisition or direct acquisition of active users, we'll come back to this. Let's change scene and see some other excerpts of Corey's video. Staff changes and all, I'm not cared about. This is again. Okay, so listen to this.
Did fail. This is not about the token being so low, but the DAU getting lower and lower. The DAU itself, management, and aligning everyone with the correct vision.
Let's
I'm not an
start.
expert. I don't believe there is many people out there who could claim that they are experts, but of course are going to give it my 110%, and hopefully the result is going to be.
We don't believe in hope. Come on, dude.
I guarantee you, it will take
Whatever.
time to get there. So
It's
this
nothing
one's from
personal.
the same person. It is quite long, so I'm going to break it down a little bit and shorten it. As we all know, the economic model did fail. This is not about the token being so low, but the DAU getting lower and lower.
Mm-hmm.
The DAU itself is a crucial point to your success
Yep.
as a company.
Yep.
And how do you expect to bring in new people to the game when it's released? Of
That's a
course,
very-
DAU is exceptionally important. I think the peak that we saw was 200,000 daily active users.
That was during
when
February?
Things were going
Yep,
absolutely
before
crazy.
your-
Pandemonium.
before your
Most of the
Valentine's
players
Day
experienced
event, by
that
the way.
time. So
Yeah.
it was crazy times, and of course the DAU is going to be absolutely insane. The data that we're tracking at the moment is that the DAU on month to month, without us putting any money in, is dropping around 7% a month on average. For us, we think personally, the fact that there is no, I guess, quote unquote earning potential and the gameplay isn't optimized, all that type of stuff, this drop is not enormous, for sure. What it essentially does is mean that there is a core base of players there. Now, some of them will get bored, and in general, you are going to lose players every single month. And the reality is, we don't have any user acquisition strategies running at the moment, or quote unquote marketing running at the moment. So, of course, as you could expect, from peak, when it's organic, there is going to be a downward trend. That is just how it is. And on average, what we're seeing is about a 7% drop. Now, acquiring new DAU, that's a completely different story. So, of course, you guys already understand the roadmap is nowhere near complete. However, at some point it will be at a point that we believe it is ready to be marketable. When we get to that point, again, we would hope that the DAU does begin to increase again. Now, will the game model or will the game's design still be the same as it is now? I don't know. Will the players be coming into the game for the same reason that they did previously? I personally highly doubt it, because we aren't sure if we align with that direction anymore. I will discuss that in a little bit more detail in probably a couple questions after this one. But in general, yes, of course, there is going to be general strategies to acquire more users, but right now, that is not the focus. We need to build out the core product and make sure that it is appropriate for onboarding users. All right, there's a couple general ones.
Okay, so we have been listening to the same tune for a long time, and we'll change. And we have been listening. They have been listening to our tune for the long time. Our constant complaint is tokenomics. Our constant complaint is why is this economy failing? Why is there inflation or anything? You have to understand this, that at a lower price, whenever a token is not it's when you make sure that you give out token at such amount that people hold a lot of token, that thing is not going to be exclusive. Take, for example, Luna Classic. Take, for example, Luna 2.0, or take, for example, any token, as a matter of fact. These tokens are never supposed to recover. Why? Because people are holding them a lot in the wallet. Going back to this part of the video where he explains, that he highly doubts that marketing strategies and all that stuff will be implemented early because they're waiting to build up the product. My question is this, that watch this. My question has always remained one thing very, very straightforward, is Sunflower Land. So Sunflower Land, it's a very mild kind of growing kind of community. It's a very mild growing game. People know that you cannot earn a lot from Sunflower Land, but there are people actually earning still decent amount from Sunflower Land if you have got tier 1 stuff in your wallet and stuff like that. My question is that since there is something called user acquisition, you have to know this. In every NFT exhibitions or in every NFT conventions, people go and they try to acquire users. That is their main vision, not only to connect or contact or make friends with like other projects, but you can share your users. People from your Discord goes to the other Discord, from other Discord they come to your Discord. Like, for example, Sunflower Land did a partnership with Millions of Mars, where they showed the game, which is Millions of Mars, to the people of Sunflower, and Sunflower people went to Millions of Mars. So that's something that they can do also on the side. The game does not need to be ready. Here it is again. This was a very wrong approach. The game doesn't need to be ready on its full scale. It can still be presented to smaller projects just to get active users, because if active users die, there is no possible way a person is going to spend $50 per user to acquire. There is, because then that strategy again is a very, very poor strategy. So I do not agree to the team's decision of waiting for user acquisition. I mean, again, me and you, we are having this conversation just because you were in this project. We are just going to explain this in a detailed way, that is so that you can understand this. So next question coming up. Okay, so Crowned Pega, before I jump in, I'm into the other question. There is no purpose for you to buy Fable tokens. There's no purpose of this Crown Pega as of right now. But 100%, if you want, you can always, you're always welcome to buy Crown Pega and stuff like that. But it is not that required. Okay, buyback of Viz.
That does work, right? Restart that same price just continuously is future, but that's for the future. I'll leave that for the future. Maybe another AMA. can we buy back all of the viz so that it will restart the economy? And or if not, is there a possibility of making another coin to replace
It's not
Ultimate
possible.
Viz?
Watch why.
For sure, we don't have any plans. It's likely physically impossible to buy back all of the viz. Being on a DEX, for one, the price just continuously increases, but also not everyone is going to sell all of their viz. So that's likely never to happen, and it's probably not going to be a strategy that we employ in the short term or even the long term. If that changes, of course, we would let you guys know. But right now, yes, we have a grand total of no plans to do a buyback just to pump up the price or reduce the circulation. That is not the direction that we would take.
So inflation remains, as he says. But here's the thing, though. Whoever asked this question, this actually shows sometimes that people who are asking questions, even in guild chat, they do not understand how things work. Buyback could not have been possible because, okay, so they are not completely wrong because Thetan, there is a game called Thetan Arena. In that Thetan Arena game, they did do a token burn where they burned more than 1 billion, I think, Thetan coins or anything just for the game to recover. There might be a scenario where Pegaxy, after completing this whole thing, can move to a sphere like that. Maybe. But as of right now, I don't think, they are focused in tokenomics at all. As a matter of fact, it is the most, or I would say, it is every NFT game that you see, every NFT game that is there in the Web3 space. Whatever we met last week, whatever you guys are seeing, this is their first priority. They do not want to talk about tokenomics. Tokenomics is directly related with how much profit we are going to make. So Web3 just ends up to be just a short-term gain kind of a space. That's how it is. You join the project super early, you make your profits, and you get out of that project. The whole span that you're going to be staying is a month. Because this is what happens when you stay in a project for more than 2-3 months. You just get stuck and you'll be there, your money is going out, and developers are just developing the game, and later on, even though it's an amazing game, you get a $5,000, what did your $5,000, $10,000 worth of investment bring you? A game that is not even proprietary. It's a broken phone just because to show you you'll be broke also. But a game that will not be proprietary to you, but you can participate. Might as well play Warzone at that point. But he's right. You cannot say that he's not right. He's actually very right, So,
and then, is there a possibility of making another coin to replace or help Viz? I don't think it would.
We have already learned about this. Okay, what's the purpose? Okay.
Literally the only thing that I've been doing is working this entire time. So, I mean, for sure, from when we first started, I had to do as many videos as possible because the updates that we were doing, we didn't have good processes in place for explaining it. We didn't have written explainers. We didn't have other people that are able to do videos, didn't do the social media posts. We didn't have customer support as good as it is today. So there was a million reasons that I did have to do videos on basically every single update. But now we're at a point where we have a very, very good communication flow where you guys really don't need me to do a video on every single update. So it would likely be someone else. Plus the amount of time that it takes to do this, edit it, then upload it, it's multiple days almost, probably 1.5 to 2 days for me to actually get it right. Of course, that's quite a bit of time if you want me to do a video on every single thing like I was doing previously. For sure, I personally believe that communication should be a lot higher. However, I don't want to give you guys information that may change because of how many changes that we have been having internally over the last probably 2 to 3 months with so many direction changes and ideas. It's just not appropriate to tell you guys something when it may not come to fruition. And it's probably been the best decision that I've made because there have been so many changes. Now things are getting a lot more clearer and we're able to see, I guess, the horizon in a general sense. Of course, that's why I'm here doing the AMA, because I'm able to let you guys know what it.
I mean, I agree to the fact. I agree to Corey right in this point. that it's whenever there's a lot of changes, that means how unstable the whole team and their thoughts and which direction they want to go. That nobody wanted to take that executive decision that we are going to go to the front and communicate. And again, been saying that content creators like us should only make content that helps everybody rather than making content, what all stuff needs to be changed. But there was no communication. Like literally at a point, there was just me, trying to contact with Batman joining the chat, trying to make donations. So we did like giveaways for like 800,000 base just to keep up the attention of the users, of the active users that is present. Even though like nobody from the team has approached me, but it's not a big deal. When you do good, you don't look into what your reward is going to be. It helped out a lot of people, and that's what we did. But communication is pretty essential, and he agreed to the fact that communication is essential. So agreeing to a fact that communication is essential, and then repeating the same mistakes again, time will only show whether they're going to repeat the same mistakes of non-communicating, because they do need to set up a person who makes videos constantly and answer to all of your questions. Where is the company heading to? What is their vision with Pegaxy? What will be their next step? Otherwise, it's just going to be that same project of F1, which was a hush-hush, one of the most expensive projects. Totally just shut it off. Why? Because they lost their license against Formula 1. So let's see again. Last two questions. Pretty important questions, actually. Now listen to this. This is a very critical question. I want all of your focus out here, because I am going to explain you in a moment after we listen to his explanation what is going on actually. Voila.
Or Corey's intentions was to market the game after skill-based product is shipped. Any idea whether there will be marketing done after the first skill-based gameplay is rolled out? I think what we've learned since saying something like that is more so the user onboarding experience, and being able to generate revenue is just as important as the gameplay experience. For sure, we can have the best gameplay in the world, but if we can't sustain the servers, you're not going to have a game. And that's just the reality here. So if we're doing this marketing and the cost per acquisition for a user is $50 because of the onboarding friction generated by blockchain, then again, we're going to be marketing for about a week and we'll have no money left. These are all things that need to align. So for sure, when we look at the player control, that's an area where we do want to have completed by the time that we do marketing. However, if we don't have a great onboarding experience, plus we don't have revenue generating systems inside the game for people who are not going to be doing trading, unfortunately, it's just not going to be sustainable for us as a studio to go and do the marketing. I don't expect to be able to generate profit or anything like that for the studio very early on once we do go to market. However, of course, we need to have the systems in place so that we can refine them, not implement them after the fact. We must have them before the fact and then refine them and optimized as we are live. So until that time, I don't expect marketing to happen, and it would not be wise of us to rush into that, because if that money is wasted, it's not going to come back easy. This one here is asking me if I will be...
Well, that answers your question again very professionally. So again, you have to give the perks and points to what Corey is again saying. In some aspects, he goes here and there, but it is a very different approach what he's saying. Probably one of the best explanations up there is that how do you acquire users and how do you market? Like, for example, right now, a lot of people are not playing. They're in their wallets. They already know this. The wallets are just filled with Pegas and they're just sitting. Nobody's doing anything. So how to create a way that you have to race to be a part of the game? You cannot be just holding your assets and not trade at all and not do anything and just keep your assets in your wallets. I think it's too late to discuss all this. It's too late to discuss all this. This is probably going to be, like one of the resumes, like you probably have, that you worked, for some engineering firm for like 6 months. This is just a layover thing. For them also, as far as an AMA goes, as far as understanding what their vision is. Their vision is to bring up Marui Lab Studios, and Pegaxy will be a game under their portfolio. That yes, we have got this amount of users, and like we have a game and we have this amount of active users. It's all about the numbers. Like for example, when I try to talk about my Discord, I will say that, hey, I have 207 active members in my Discord. Hey, I have 6,000 subscribers, out of which 3,000 is active. For me, it doesn't matter, like who is bullish about me, or, who is criticizing the channel or anything. For me, that numbers matter. And Pegaxy will just remain a game that it's there to play, and you can earn some tokens out of it. I think that's where we're heading to. And let's see the last, few questions. I think I remember, which is going to be 20, I think. Okay. ROCHA, yeah. You do not need this because nobody will be interested into the foundation. Okay.
Staff, ROCHA and Ken, and is it possible to offer us some reassurance that the team as a whole is still positive about working on Pegaxy? For sure. You guys know about Ken and ROCHA. ROCHA wanted to explore mostly Web3. I think his interest is in mostly Web3, and the direction that we're going with Pegaxy is, well, in general as a studio, is adopt a lot of things from Web2 and plug in blockchain where we think it's appropriate and beneficial to the end user, which would likely mean right now less Web3 stuff. So for ROCHA,
hold on. So you listen to that, right? Hold on a second. And this is where the trigger happens. Right now it is Web 2. And later take on to this project and put it on Web 3. Right now it's just play. Later on it will be play to earn. ROCHA and Ken is going to leave. It is Web 3. If there is no money to be made, what are me and you doing out here? That's my question. I would have put it on Ethereum for $1,000 and flipped it for 1,700. I made $700 profit. I didn't have to make anything. I can be sitting at home making money. That's what all of people that are either in Pegaxy or outside Pegaxy is doing. But it's just us. We are just stuck into this constant shift of whether it's Web 2 or Web 3. Remember, the distinction between Web 2 and Web 3 is that Web 3 is play to earn. That means you're making money out of it. You're minting the tokens for some sort of value. Otherwise, it's just a simple game. Like we play Warzone. It's a simple game. And my question to you will be that would you be bullish to play a horse racing game where all you have to do is click a button, race, select which stadium your Pega is highest at, and play? Do you want to do it? I have 10 Pegas available for you. They are on 50% share profit. Go and play it. But see, this is what actually triggered me during watching the whole AMA. And this is a team's decision. Let's listen to the next part.
Going to be an area that he's not so much interested in, and it just makes complete sense to go and explore other things. And I'm sure you'll see other team members depart here and there. That's just normal in an organization. And as I explained to you guys earlier, hopefully it recorded, I think it did, that we want this to be a stepping stone for our staff. We don't want to lock them into anything. So if they want to go explore other things, 100% support them in that. I assume this is...
Okay, let's see. This is a very good question. Very genuine. Probably one of the best questions ever asked in AMA.
And with the economy moving forward, another economy one. Feels like the Web3 game has given up on crypto side of the project, and it's basically Web 2. So for sure, I think to many people it does look like that, and it's probably pretty clear that the idea of play to earn in the general sense of what we thought it was in February just realistically does not work. And it's important for us to accept that and recognize it for sure. And a lot of the team internally had a lot of novel ideas that we definitely explored and we tried our best to implement. However, it's quite clear that building a game and actively building a game and not a complete game while having an open ecosystem that is generally permissionless and everything else is simply right now unable to work. And I don't think it's going to be the best route for us to continue to build in that direction and give promises and all this type of stuff when we don't have full belief in the system.
Okay, so here you hear this again. If the team does not believe that Web3 has a future, then why do you think that me and you sitting out here would believe that Web3 has a future for them, where they're not going to move in that same direction? These are, I hope you saw this video, because this is very critical to understand that they are not moving forward for taking this as a Web3. They're just using this as a Web2. So coming around, the whole question is, why did you spend $1,000 in Pegas, $2,000 in Pegas? Well, you wanted to join because at that time, me and you, we did not have an understanding of Web2, what is Web2, what is Web3, what is NFT, what is crypto, how should we join this, what is B2E space. We did not. But today you know that a lot of these companies that are making or developing games with our money doesn't end up. Their games are developed, they will finish and give you the product, but the product might not have value. Why? Because the space is such. So hence, any project that you join, try to make sure you're joining early on that project. If you join late on the project, remember this, or you're joining highest. Like for example, right now, those who are joining in Pegaxy, perfect time. It's 80 cents to join. ROI, what do you mean by ROI? If you cannot afford 80 cents, just go and wash vegetables maybe. There's no ROI. So that's what the direction they are going to. And this is the sort of transparency we needed from the very beginning. Why are they being transparent now? Because then they know that there has been a lot of time where people are getting false expectation, and that false expectation needs to stop. Okay, let's listen to the last.
On the game, so they don't necessarily have to race. Most owners don't actually race. They'll be buying and selling, trading, renting out, blah, blah, blah. That's still playing the game. In general races, yeah, for sure, it may be less than 70,000 people doing races. That makes a lot of sense. This one here, I do appreciate, thank you so much for this one. Questions, but I just want to say that please take care of your physical and mental health. So many haters out there saying inappropriate words towards the team. So sad to see most of them are my fellow Filipinos. That they are. Anyways, thank you for non-stop work.
That they are, okay? Well, well, here's the thing. Finishing this episode on a note. It is Curtain Falls edition, which means that we are going to close this Pegaxy topic in the channel until and unless something comes back. I'm going to make occasional, small episodes around it, but do not expect anything more. A lot of people were in Discord asking me, when to pull out. I think today is the perfect time. You heard it. As a matter of fact, a lot of guilds have pulled out. How do we know this? Not only because we are lurking in the chat, but also if you go and see the amount of Vis, the story of Vis right now, people are saying goodbye. They're just pulling out because today is the day which marks the end of a lot of people, a lot of investors that were holding in some sort of, money and everything into the game. They pulled out. So PGX is the governance token. Vis probably is utility. I'm not concerned about Vis. Not probably. It is the utility. But there you go. It just dropped to 0.008. Right? And if you go to Vis, (0.000467). I mean, whenever it has reached 3 zeros, I already had said that the chances of recovery on this game is now. Why? Because now this token is going to be very, very readily available for literally anybody in that space. So with that said, It was a 34 minutes video because we had to break down his AMA, make it into a very simple way for you guys to understand that the project is not a Web3 anymore. Your earnings are not going to be anything, literally on any side. The project will be coming into flare in coming 2023, but your prospect to earn anything out of that game is 0 to nil. It's your decision, and do write in comments below and help your fellow investors by writing comments. You can write it detailed. What is your next step? I'm going to explain you my next step. You're going to explain yours. My next step is, it has no value. Why would I try to make another $5 by selling 20 of my Pegas? Let it remain. Let my 20 Pegas remain. I have 1 million in VIS. Let that VIS remain too. Am I supposed to donate my, what about the giveaways or anything? There is no value to give this away. I would rather host a giveaway when there is a little amount of value. Like today we heard, when the team doesn't want to head over for the direction of Web3 and they're clearly maintaining the route of Web2, which they can literally later on transfer into Web3, there's no purpose for us to get bullish about this. Literally no purpose. It lies on your hand whether at this point there's no other way, like just playing a game which you have just invested. Mint tokens or no, don't mint tokens. It's all upon you, because even if you do not mint tokens, somebody else will. So that will be out from the channel Techado. It was an elaborative 36 minutes of video. Why? Because it's a curtain fall edition. To all the Pegaxy followers, to people, those who have been watching this project, I thank you a lot for watching this channel on Pegaxy topic. We have other topics coming up. We have got like multiple P2E games coming up. Things that we have taught in this channel is very critical from day one. Enter at low, sell at high. Rule number 1. Rule number 2, join P2E early. P2E after a month or 2 of launch loses its value. Join projects early, leave projects early. Short-term gain is what you as an investor is looking for. Remember this, that you do not care how much all these projects try to feed you that we are here for the long term. Nothing goes long term. Why? Because we're going to come up to that in the next video, because that's what we learned going to a lot of going to exhibitions, going to NFT conventions. We learned this stuff because tokenomics is an area where nobody's going to talk. There is sustainable tokenomics. First of all, doesn't even exist. There's nothing called sustainable tokenomics. What happens in the blockchain is usually cloudy. And with that note, we're going to end this video right up here. Good night. Take care. Take care of your families. I'm going to miss making content about Pegaxy, but I'm usually live on Twitch more or less every night around about 10 to 1 a.m. We'll be doing some Web 2 stuff, which is going to be playing Warzone. That is a Web 2 gaming. So if you love video games and if you want to watch us play, you can always join on our Twitch. Socials are right up there on the top, and the Twitch address will be right there at the bottom. See you up there. Again, any questions, you're always free to ask. We have a lot of projects coming up, I think, from the next video. Till then, good night.